Welcome everyone to the semifinals of the Rising Empires League Season 1. We have a best of 5 of 2v2s coming up here in between Team Snake and Team Chimps. Featuring Team Snake, we will have Puppy and Wam on the left side, the Canadian brothers with the color teal and blue. And on the right side of the map, it is Beasty and MarineLord representing Team Chimps. Now, the players forgot to turn on the improved spec UI mod for this specific game, so for this game number 1, we'll have the good old school overlays up here, but beyond game number 2, they actually have the improved Observer UI, so you will be able to see the balance of power bars and all that stuff in the middle. So this event is essentially a $4,000 2v2 community-funded event. I will drop a link down below in the description box to all the information associated with this event, as well as the donation link if you want to support the organizers of this event. So, it is Pit in game number 1 here. We have Wam and Puppy versus Beasty and MarineLord. Both sides are playing with the Rus and French combo to start the day with. I haven't really taken a look at their drafts just yet. I'm not even sure exactly what the rules are for that, because some of the information that's available on the event are a little vague, and I kind of failed to find the key pieces of information related to this, but we'll just go as we go and figure out things on the fly. So, French and Rus combo. This is an interesting matchup because oftentimes this comes down to just a lot of knights being played in 1v1. If you were to look at a French versus Rus matchup, or French versus French even, you would just see knights spamming from both sides. But when you have a 2v2, you possibly have to account for a pivot from either of those players. Either it's a spearman type of an addition from probably the Rus player, or maybe as a preemptive response to spearman being played, archers being added. So it's going to be interesting to see those adaptations coming up in this game. It looks like the Rus players will be on the opposing sides. You see that Beasty is going to be on the northern corner, and down south we will have Puppypaw. So on both the left and the right flank, you have a French versus Rus matchup. The players with the same civilizations are not on the same sides. No surprise here from either of the French players. It's going to be the School of Cavalry, and you do anticipate the Kremlin being dropped down here by the Rus players any moment. Looks like we do have a double hunting cabin opening from Puppy, and on the opposing side, Beasty does have one cabin, and I think he is missing a second one. Yep, Beasty's only playing with one cabin compared to Puppy. We'll place the Kremlin right in between the wood line and the gold, so this is going to be a nice and well-protected area. Obviously, your mindset over here is that this Kremlin protects the gold a lot more than it does for the wood. But all you want here for the Kremlin is to boost the lumber camp that you place over here. And of course, you want to be able to garrison your villagers into the Kremlin from the gold ASAP. This is especially important when you play against the French or even against the Rus, because you likely will be seeing some French or Rus knights hitting your gold miners, so you want that extra level of protection. On the other side, a similar mindset is used by Puppy. He's going to have the Kremlin relatively close to the gold mine. And for French players, naturally, all they can do to protect these gold miners is play towers in the future. Wheelbarrow's on the way for all but one player. As you see, Wam is the only one who hasn't yet clicked Wheelbarrow. Everybody else did. So he's going to be a little bit behind compared to MarineLord in that regard. But in exchange, he manages to get a slightly faster feudal age timing over here. Pops out the first Royal Knight as we speak. Now, when it comes to the gold mine spots, this is an interesting lineup because Beasty's team have some pretty good gold mines over here to work with. Beasty's one is at the back, protected by the Kremlin now. MarineLord also has that at the back. Whereas for Puppypaw's team, Puppy's gold is right at the front, no backups on the back, well, excluding this faraway large gold mine in the corner. And for Wam, it's kind of offset to the side. Again, not much backups to work with at the back, so this could be concerning for Wam's team in the near future. Right. We can keep track of the current resources right now, although income per minute might be a little bit more relevant. I'll try to keep switching in between the two so we can keep track of what's happening. Obviously, with the absence of the UI, or the improved UI rather, it's a little difficult to keep track of all those things. Beasty popping the militias over here. Only 30 seconds left on these militias, but they still managed to push away the villagers from the gold. Now, when we look at Wam's POV, we want to take a look at that gold. He needs enough so that he can continuously produce knights, and these militias are denying him from that. First knight pops out, militias, only 20 seconds left on them, but a lot of idle time forced here on Wam. He's going to clash with the militias using the one knight he has. He will take down both of the militias, but you see, this is the problem for Wam. His School of Cavalry is idle right now. He's sitting on 70 gold. Compare that to MarineLord, who first of all went for a barracks, but the point here is that if he wanted to produce knights consistently, he would. Instead, he's focusing on a second TC with villagers being sent to stone, playing a defensive game with spearmen. Yet to see the first knight arrive from Wam. Beasty scouts are keeping track of this one knight in the middle, so MarineLord knows fully well when these guys will arrive. In the meantime, we have Puppypaw moving in with his own militias. Once again, just 20 seconds left on them. We'll take this fight. Love to see that he's striking at the spearmen. The knight, obviously, once you have chivalry, is going to heal back up, whereas the spearman, it takes permanent damage. So in that context, this is a good choice by Puppypaw, doing permanent damage to that one spearman. There's a knight coming from the right side, accompanied by the scout for extra line of sight. Will spot the villagers on stone. Looks like he might be awarded with a pick here. Gets the first charge in. Nice body blocks by MarineLord, but the first villager will get picked off. Knight might fall for this, though. Looks like will get away, unless the T-Sneak gets the snipe, which it does. Ah, that's painful for Wam, losing one knight for a single villager being picked. Puppy moving to the far right side. There's a lot of hunt over here, as well as a board. That's what he's working towards. He's got some knights roaming the map as well, but it looks like things have stabilized for both parties, as MarineLord is dropping his second TC on the hunt. Puppy is operating with double stables, though. He's playing very aggressive over here for at least what you would expect, but then you look at Beasty, triple stables. Not all of them are producing right now. You can see the production bar is kind of missing from the middle. But eventually, when his eco kicks off, he's going to have a monstrous production of knights. Bit of a clash in the middle. Looks like Beasty will get away with all of his knights. Puppy's also operating on double stables worth of production. The only player that really is playing a more passive game right now and not going for knights is MarineLord. But in exchange, he's going on 2 TCs, and that's going to start showing pretty soon. Beasty working his way towards the boar. There's a boar carcass right here. This is a beautiful, beautiful hunting cabin, by the way. It's on the berries, on the hunt, on the boar. As good as it gets. Wait, Puppy. We gotta talk. Puppy, what's happening? What's happening, Puppy? You might want to drop a hunting cabin over here. I feel like Puppy is distracted by the night micro right now, and he's yet to realize that he didn't drop a hunting cabin there. This is gonna be painful because Beasty is on the boar himself, and you really want to make sure that you have every piece of advantage in a mirror, so you really cannot afford inefficiencies like that. Beasty's Knights holding off Puppypaw quite effectively here. Knights from Wam yet to link up with the ones in the middle, though. If you look at the army numbers right now, you feel like Puppy's team has a bit of an advantage here, because it's only Beasty with the Knights, and all that MarineLord has is a handful of spears. But MarineLord is banking up resources for Castle Age. Actually, never mind, that's income per minute. I'm dumb. Okay, MarineLord is just building eco right now. When it comes to the villagers, clash in the middle. We gotta pay attention to that. MarineLord spears will also move away. In the meantime, we got one knight sneaking past from MarineLord, trying to get a hit on the lumberjacks. Beasty also moving up on the northern side towards the expansion TC of Wam. This could be disastrous. Okay, Wam's got the scout nearby. He sees the knights coming in, and this is so crucial. If he didn't have the scouts here, he wouldn't have seen the knights, and that possibly could have meant that he loses the villagers here on the TC. Looks like he didn't lose more than a villager here on the wood line, thanks to this one knight. And he's going to push away Beastie's forces on the north. Now, the lack of knights for MarineLord could start to stink. Because Beastie is busy fighting off these knights on the northern side, and this allows Puppypaw to swing in from the south. Beastie pops out a lot of gremlins here. Up to 8 militias he is. He's gonna have to fight against the TC and all those knights. Whereas to the east, we have Puppypaw just circling around the base of MarineLord looking for targets as of now. By the way, shout out to Beastie for all these hunting cabins. This is actually a very good use of the map. He's getting a lot of passive gold from all that. You look at Beastie's gold income, this is mostly passive. He only has 4 gold miners. It all comes from those hunting cabins. Puppy is doing something similar, but not as many hunting cabins as Beastie is operating with. Looking at the resources, Beastie's stacking up a lot of food. He's the only person right now in this game that could realistically think about Castle Age. Everybody else, it's just full-on feudal. Bit of a swing game by MarineLord, gets a villager pick, will lose the scout in exchange though, depriving all these knights from that critical information and line of sight. On the northern side, we have a second group from Puppypaw harassing those stone miners. Beastie ends up losing a villager on the stone. In exchange, Puppypaw spots that Beastie is now working his way towards the stone, and it looks like the Canadian brothers now will try to focus all their attention towards that stone mine. MarineLord has a lot of spearmen supporting here now, and there is no response from either Wam or Puppy to deal with those. Militias popping out here for Puppypaw. Only 10 seconds left of them though. Look at it. Wait a second. The indicator must be wrong. We'll talk about that in a second, but we have more important things to discuss. Looks like MarineLord will be able to push away Puppy here in the middle. So yeah, let's talk about those militias expiring for a second. They used to have a lifespan of 90 seconds. That has been reduced to just 80 seconds. However, I think the UI wasn't changed, so that's why you saw those militias dying when there was still 10 seconds on the timer. Knight numbers steadily escalating for Puppypaw over here, getting ready to push MarineLord's base. MarineLord's spears are slow, and he needs to split attention between his base and Beastie's one. It's going to make it much more difficult to adjust to these raids, but it looks like neither Wam nor Puppy is willing to commit much to this. In fact, Wam is playing a very defensive game over here, getting the walls up before he commits his knights. In the middle, we have a beautiful surround by Puppy, gets 2 knights picked from MarineLord. Love this little knight deposited here by Puppy. Could intercept villagers walking towards this small hunt. Could intercept villagers possibly working their way towards building new hunting cabins there. This is a very nice kind of skirmishing knight, if you will. Just there to intercept some villagers that would move out for those extra resources. High Trade House now on the way for Puppypaw. He's going to be the first one to reach Castle Age. 218 passive gold as well for him. Others, we have no Castle Age coming in from Beastie just yet. Instead, he's going to try to move out his knights, but he's going to bump into walls over here. Beastie will spot the knights. Wam will fall back behind his walls. In the meantime, though, MarineLord is moving out. He wants to clash with those knights before they are upgraded to Castle Age units, but those upgrades are coming in for Puppypaw. And once they are in, you see Knight in 1 second. Now these units, these Castle Age Knights, are better than the Royal Knights from the Feudal from MarineLord. MarineLord's villager count at 72. Let's compare that to Wam for a brief moment. He is sitting at 62 only, so MarineLord has a bit of a lead, especially if Wam ends up losing a couple of villagers over here on this little enclave. Looks like Beastie just wants to open up a little space for himself so he can take a fight. Wam! He's also up in Castle Age. I completely missed that. He went up with the Royal Institute and he is going for Royal Bloodlines. Only 45 seconds left. This explains the multiple layers of walls as well. He wants to keep out these knights and he wants to take this fight when Royal Bloodlines are in. He might be skirmishing a bit here. We'll talk about that in a second, but this is kind of just a distraction from his end. He sees the Spearman coming in, will think twice of this. Beasty trying to burn his way through the wall, still 23 seconds left. Now, when you look at this fight, Beasty keeps checking for the HP of those knights. He wants to see if they have royal bloodlines. So what Wam wants to do is clash with them before the upgrade hits. Like about right now would be the optimal time. Because once the fight begins, it's much more difficult for players to realize that they're fighting against knights with royal bloodlines. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's clashing just before the upgrade, now turning in. Beasty will take this engagement, thinking about pulling back his knights, sacrificing the spearman first, but he is going to fight this battle, and he's going to get pushed back very rapidly. Look at this massacre. That's the difference that the royal bloodlines upgrade makes, and that's the reason why Wam was waiting for it. MarineLord trying to make a push in the middle, intercepting a lot of villagers from Wam here. But now there's a chance for a push on the northern side by Wam and Puppy. Looks like they will just relocate to the south, trying to push away MarineLord. Beasty's on the way to Castle Age as the last player. He's going up just now, as we do have a bit of a pivot to Horse Archers from Puppy. Wam, though, needs to flee. He's out of gold inside his base, and MarineLord has done a terrific job when it comes to denying that gold in the middle. But now with the knights arriving, MarineLord is going to get pushed back. He's yet to get royal bloodlines. In fact, yeah, he's just now clicking that. It's going to take so much time for him to get that upgrade. And now this is getting worrisome. This is getting very worrisome for Beasty and MarineLord. MarineLord also has less knights than Wam has right now. He's still far away from that upgrade. And Beasty is just now going up to Castle Age, so he needs some time until he gets his own upgrades in as well. At least MarineLord has a lot of spears, so as long as you don't have a lot of Horse Archers for Puppy, these could work, but looks like Puppy is making a full pivot into the Horse Archers. Will make it much more difficult for MarineLord to use those spears. Love this little safe position, by the way, by MarineLord. We talked about how problematic this gold mine could have been for Wam and how he was denied of gold. Loved MarineLord's play here. He's just going to focus on this large gold because he needs steady gold income to be able to continuously produce knights. Looks like Puppy is going to catch up with MarineLord's forces over here. Veteran Spears are also in, but this is a much larger force, and there is no royal bloodlines on those knights for MarineLord. Horse Archers will take a step back, but there are no reinforcements coming from Wam just yet. And looks like Puppy will think twice of fighting this. Royal Bloodline's almost in for MarineLord. If he wants to fight, now is the time to do so. Will prioritize sending in the Spearman first, trying to keep the Knights alive. Will take some decent hits here, but most of the Knights are now gone. And Royal Bloodlines is just now finishing. Spearman still doing work here, but this is an acceptable trade for Puppy. Will push away most of MarineLord's forces. Puppy still has a lot of Knights and Horse Archers over here. We'll get rid of the outpost. MarineLord's eco is actually based very much at the back, and it's difficult to push into. You would have to run past DCs over here, which you ideally want to avoid. On the northern side, there might be a lot more damage potential. And if Puppy and Wam decide to double team Beast, that might be problematic for Beasty. He's trying to repair that gate over here with the villagers inside the gate. Quite a few of them get picked off. And it looks like torches will once again be thrown. Wam really flirting with the idea of breaking through this gate. Now we'll have the swing coming in from the Horse Archers. Beasty also forced to make Spearmen here. And it's getting alarming for Beasty and MarineLord here. Their unit composition is getting worse and worse compared to what the Canadian bros have. Despite the fact that Wam is running his knights into spears over here, which is less than optimal to say the least. Defensive castle coming in here for Beasty. This is a crucial moment. They need to protect this flank. He's been holding this gate for quite a while. He still has a lot of spears over here. Crossbows also joining in. But if this gate is broken through, it could be a disaster for Beasty. Getting some good picks with the Spearmen as the Knights are focused on the gate. Knights will try to break through. Lions are holding strong here for Beasty. Castle near completion, but here come the Horse Archers, and they could spell disaster for Beasty. Knights are breaking through, Horse Archers coming in, and this castle will be denied. Oh, disaster coming in for Beasty. He needed to hold just a little longer, but the Horse Archers come in just in time to complete this massacre. Beasties Castle now unfinished. Their army is decimated. There's just no standing army right now for him. And they are facing overwhelming cavalry numbers. Wam and Puppy will take game number 1.